It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the TNG review show. Hey! Here we are. It's us again, and believe it or not, I have got antlers on my head, but I realised that when I put them on, they don't appear in the shot, so I kind of have to wear them as like sort of like Andorian antennae. So there they are.
Today I will be an Andorian.
Yes, today I'm an Andorian moose. Reindeer. Yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another TNG review show with me, Monteban, and my lovely co-hosts, Mazim Bob, and the wonderful G-Star. Yo, guys, how you going?
Or should I say, ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. I've already
Merry
sort of
Christmas.
growing the white beard for it, so I'm kind of getting there.
You have to get your beard baubles out.
I'll have to get my beard baubles
I get
out,
little
yep.
baubles in.
We've gone festive as the as that season has once again rolled around quicker every year. It's like, it just keeps up, comes at me like a freight train.
Yeah.
But
But
Here we are.
the
Could be something to do with...
this is our last episode before Christmas, see?
this is our last episode, so we
Sad
thought we'd go
times.
all out with the festivities. Instead of gin, Mazim and Bob and myself we're back on the blood wine this evening, because we've got red wine calendars, festive advent calendars. So we're getting through our stash of red wine.
Yeah, I haven't had any mine yet, so I'm on day number 1, which is a Catalan Cabali.
I've got El Sabio, a Pinot Noir from Chile.
Very nice.
That's what I'm on.
And I'm still on the wagon.
Well, you're still on the wagon, yes. I'm surprised to see Karen. I thought Karen was going to be late today because I know she's got some seminar or something. So I'm surprised to see her on. So well done,
Well,
Karen, for making it on.
I was just about to say that Mickey was early. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
But actually it appears that he just said 5 minutes away. So he's not actually technically home yet. But it
Might
was
have
a
just
surprise
jumped in
to
his
see him on
car
the
to drive
chat.
back from the gym,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. He's on
Oh.
his way. He's on
Oh
his
my
way.
goodness, Smiler, I'm so sorry I didn't send you the questions. Although the questions this evening are very short. So in terms of...
Short.
Yeah, like as in terms of text. Except for maybe one of them.
Or two.
Or maybe three.
Maybe three.
Okay, they're all really long. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
Karen did a coaching session in 45 minutes so she could be here on time.
Oh, that's nice.
Dedication of our fan base. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Well, in that vein, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And,
She has already.
all that malarkey.
Star
Yeah. She's our star bar this evening. She's already liked the stream and everything. That's good effort, Karen. Good effort. Good evening to Stu Plum as well. Hiya. Welcome on board. And to my ever-suffering Wrench Smiler Rainbow. You're gonna have to come up with the questions this evening, Smiler. So feel free to be as liberal as you wish with the wording.
Yeah,
We
no
might get
copy
some
and pasting.
interesting-
No.
We might get some interesting options.
No, put that masters in English to use and make sure that they
She types
are...
phonetically. She says she'll type what I'll type what I hear. That's all funny.
Very good. Very good. That's very funny. Yes, so here we are this evening. How are you guys? Have you had a good week?
I've had an okay week, just working from
Just
home.
on the
Still got this
okay.
stupid little cough, 9 days now, but it's fine.
It
It's not.
lingers. It
Yeah,
lingers.
it is. It's like I feel fine though. It's just got an annoying cough.
Yeah. Still got it myself. There you go. Terrible week, to be honest with you, Monty. No, Pretty average, really.
Well,
Which is
gone from-
better than terrible.
That's better than terrible. We'll take average, to be honest, G. You know,
Yeah.
we'll take average. I just
all right.
realised I'm going to be reading my script in a minute, and I'm going to turn into Geordie LaForge, some sort of weird
Nice.
version of Geordie LaForge. Anyway, yeah. Mickey's
Eyeball
here.
antlers.
There we go.
Do you
Oh,
want
okay.
my Do you want my score for the enemy?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
crumbs. Let me
Good
just
point.
bring up the old
Don't
score
bring it up
sheet.
yet. Let me score it and then bring it up.
All right.
All right then.
Go on,
1, 2,
then.
3.
So I can't have seen yours at all unless I, of course, watched the episode. Oh, t-shirt. Of course, unless I didn't watch the episode last week, which unfortunately I've not got around to. So, yeah. Anyway, ready?
Ready.
I give the enemy a nice, solid
7.
7. Yeah, that was the general score for it.
Amen.
I went crazy.
Oh my
Mine's
God.
about to give it a 9.
What are you on this season? You're scoring. No wonder you're the only one of us who says, "Oh, can I go back and change one of my scores, please?" Because your scoring is whack.
Whack. Whack-a-doodle.
Yeah.
I love this season.
Mine and
It's
Maz's
great.
is in the word of Alex, epic.
Epic. Yeah. Hey, look, I made my I made my pitch for my scores.
Did.
My
You'll have to
scoring.
just go back and watch it, G-Star.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it.
Okay. Will do.
Onward to the price.
But to be fair, you may not be wrong. You may not be wrong about me going mad. It could very well be the case. Yes. There we are, the price. I'm ready with the pictures and everything. I'm doing well today. My intro, I got spot on. The share screens I've got ready, and I'm on a roll.
Definitely are.
I am on
I've got my questions ready. There's a few twists and turns this evening, and some extra higher points being given out. I hear you were starved of them last week, so yeah, get ready for some thunderbolt.
I was
points.
I was a stingy question master last week. I starved them of their valuable TNG points.
Did.
And I might have made a mockery out of the promotion system, but we've got our proper question master here this week, so we're all going to be back on track and held to account. So there we go.
Back to school.
Back to school. Okay, so tonight we are talking about the price. It's episode 8 of season 3, production number 40273-156. It had the working title of A Price Far Above Rubies, but then was, for some reason, shortened to The Price.
God.
It first aired on the 13th of November 1989. It's the 55th episode to be produced and the 55th episode to be released. It was written by Hannah Louise Shearer and Richard Danis and directed by Robert Shearer. So the teaser.
Smiley Rainbow says, geek!
I'm just reading it all off a database. I don't remember all those things, you know. But it's just for those people that are interested in that kind of thing.
Do you know what? If you ever feel offended by the word geek, just go and listen to will.i.am's song Geeky. It'll help out.
Hey, you know, I'm sat in a YouTube studio in my house dressed in a Star Trek uniform with antlers on my head, you know. My street cred and that disappeared many weeks ago. So, you know, it's what it is.
Maybe from the song you'd understand that having no street cred can be credible.
It can, yeah. Walk your own path.
Yeah.
Okay, teaser. So Troy enters her quarters after finishing what seems like a difficult shift at work. She checks her mail and she's got a number of letters from her mother. Oh no. To help her through it, she asks the computer for a real chocolate sundae, but the request is declined. For the computer, it falls outside of the acceptable parameters of what's accepted as what is acceptable nutritional value. I didn't know that about replicators, that people had like nutrition quotas that
Yeah.
the computer could go, no,
Like the
It'd be like-
computers rule the roost.
yeah. I'd be asking for pepperoni pizza every day. It'd be like, no, you've had your pepperoni pizza quota for this month. It's soya beans or tofu for you. Oh no, it's sad times.
It's a clever idea. Computer says no, said Mickey.
Computer says no. Yeah. Troy's about to give the computer a piece of her mind when Picard contacts her via the comms and asks her to attend an impromptu reception for some delegates who have come to bid on a wormhole. She's worried about not being dressed for the occasion, but Picard tells her to throw on any old thing. Which is like, it was an offhanded thing that I don't think we've ever seen Picard talk to Troy in that way before. He's like, just throw anything on.
Yeah, it was quite a oddly human moment. Like,
yeah, he's normally
a
like
little unscripted almost sort of thing,
He's usually one of those sort of captains who's like, you're one of my senior staff and I'm asking you to, come with the proper attire.
I bet you any money that was that wasn't scripted.
Yeah,
Surprised me.
Seemed very casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she arrives in 10 forward and is introduced firstly to, how do you pronounce it? Bavani. That's it. I've got it. To Bavani of Barzan 2. And then to the delegates who are negotiating for the rights to the Barzan wormhole. It's the only stable wormhole known to exist. And makes itself... Oh, I'm not telling you that. I did write that down. There you go.
There you go. Well done.
She
Control there, Monty.
I pulled it back. She's introduced to Mendoza, the Federation delegate, Leor of the Caledonians, and Devanoni Ral, a human representing the Chrysalians. Devanonian. There seems to be... Anyway,
Devanonian.
I'll call him Ral.
Devanani.
And Ral.
Ral.
She's introduced to Ral.
Wow.
The human
Devanonian Ral.
representing the Chrysalians. Yeah,
He's got a very difficult name.
he has.
It's a very cool name.
But there seems to be some chemistry between Ral and Troy, or an amazing amount of creepiness. I wasn't quite so sure at this point. She seemed slightly uncomfortable with the way he was looking at her. Ral has also got another attractive female hanging off his arm, which just added to the sort of creepy look of the whole thing. Yeah. They watch the wormhole appear. Everyone stares with marvel, except for Ral, who only has eyes for Troy. Troy looks disturbed by this. Or not, I can't tell. Bhavani tells the delegates it can be theirs for the right price. And that's the end of the teaser. Yes, there you go. Oh, we probably had a picture of some of that you probably wanted to see. Oh, not quite.
Not yet.
We'll come to that in a minute.
Oh,
That's a
right.
whole other thing. Yeah, we got a question from the teaser then, Mr. G-Star?
Oh, we certainly do. Are you ready, folks? Heads down. And this is for that all-important first rank promotion to Ensign. Get you off the mark and with 25 TNG points. So the question is, how often does the stable wormhole appear? Is it A, 133 minutes, B, 33 minutes, C, every third of an hour, D, 233 minutes, or E, none of the above? So how often does the stable wormhole appear? Is it every 133 minutes? Every 33 minutes? Every third of an hour? Every 233 minutes? Or none of the above? Where does Duplum come from?
He's been here all
For a
along.
while.
Oh, sorry, Duplum didn't see. I was like, that's not going to be the same without Duplum.
We said hello to him in our introductions and everything.
Oh, sorry, I must have been away with the time
You were
travelers.
you were away with the elves, weren't you? Making the presents
Time
ready for
traveling
Christmas.
time traveling
Tra-
elves.
Time traveling elves.
Time traveling elves.
Yes, indeedy.
So in that little first section, it's the first time that we've been introduced to the idea that Deanna's got a bit of a love of chocolate and is a chocoholic.
Yes.
That makes several references to that, like in later series, but this is the first time that's referenced.
An important character trait for Troy.
Yeah, because her character's so badly written.
Yes.
That's just about all we ever know about her.
What do you know about Troy?
She loves
Half
chocolate.
Beta said loves chocolate.
Yeah.
As an annoying
Overbearing
mum.
mother. That's about it, right?
That's it. Done. Had a fling with Riker back in the day.
But yes, and that Matt McCoy, who plays Devanani Ram,
Our namesake.
yeah, our namesake. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He was in LA Confidential with James Cromwell, you know, the guy who plays what's it called, the guy who invented
Cochrane.
warp drive, Cochrane.
Cochrane.
That's it. Yeah, and also I think on Facebook chat earlier somebody was pointing out that he's also in what's it called, that cop thing, Police Academy. Which is
I
also
didn't know
got
he was in
Renee-
Police Academy, but
Oh
there you
yes,
go.
yes he is. He's
Someone called
he's in one of the later
Mike,
ones,
I think.
isn't he?
5 and 6. He's in.
He replaces
the
the character that was played by
that guy that is in all the 80s films, like Three Men and a Baby,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I can't remember his name.
He's got some sort of Jewish name.
He's got a weird name. Yeah, can't remember his name. Can't remember.
But anyway,
We know what we're talking about.
and also Rene Aubergenois and another guy from Star Trek were also in police academies. So, yeah, they're often in clusters of Star Trek-y related people. And somebody else in Facebook chat said he also plays, what was the name, Mark? Monty Ban, sorry.
I can't remember.
Ah, yeah, it was. But apparently he was also in Seinfeld as an extra character, which I didn't know.
He was. Yeah, he
But
was.
yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. Fairly
I remember
famous
him
actor at the time.
from The Hand That Rocked the Cradle.
Yeah, he was really good in that, actually.
Yeah, he was the dad who gets kind of seduced by the crazy babysitter. Babysitter, house person, whatever she was. Yeah. I've also seen him recently as well in.
So have I.
He was in that Tom Clancy thing on Amazon Prime. What's the main Tom Clancy character called?
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. He's in Jack Ryan.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway,
Answers?
we know so much about him because he's our namesake, you know. So yeah. Sorry, you saying?
I just said answers.
Oh,
Oh,
answers.
answers.
Yes,
Yes.
answers.
Sorry, I was trying to, I was watching YouTube. Anyway. Right, so I can't take an answer from Monty. We're completely aware of
No,
that,
I
but I
know,
can
also.
take an answer from Maz.
Oh, well, I have it written in my notes too, so you know.
You have it written in your notes too,
I
right?
do,
Then
yeah.
shut up.
Do you want to give us the right answer then?
Yeah,
Give
all
you the
right.
right answer, or do you
So-
want him to do it?
Off the mark, we have. I'm just going to write it down. Ensign Karen, and we have Ensign Stewplum. Off the mark with 25 TNG points. There we go.
Because
Sorry.
what was the answer?
It was every 233 minutes.
233 minutes. There you go. Right, on to Act 1. In the observation lounge, Bhavani outlines how the Barzans are not equipped to administer the wormhole, so that's why they're selling the rights to another spacefaring race. Riker interrupts to say that there's a Ferangi delegation have arrived, and they want in. Uh-oh. Bhavani has no objections to allowing them to take part, so Picard has O'Brien beam them directly to the observation lounge. 3 Ferengis arrive, immediately protest at not being invited, which Bhavani apologises for. Then they really want some chairs, and I mean really want some chairs, including ordering Worf to get them some chairs, in which Worf protests.
Their Klingon servant or something.
Yeah, get your Klingon servant to get the chairs. And Worf's like, I'm the head of security. Fine.
Hands down, the best scene in this episode.
Yeah.
This scene. And that guy playing the Ferengi, what a great job he did of just the great expressions, even with that makeup on. It was class.
It was really, sort of defining moment for Ferengi. It was the first time we see like proper Ferengi, if you know what I mean. The first couple of attempts were kind of like proto-Ferengi, them just like trying to figure out what Ferengi were going to be, and in this episode we get to see Ferengi as we really know them, you know.
That bit more sort of comedic.
Yeah, conniving,
comedic and conniving.
Annoying, you know.
Yeah, it was in season 1 that they were all like,
yeah. Whatever that was all about. It does that. Yeah.
They were supposed to be like really. They were supposed to be really evil at first, but people just found them ridiculous, so they leaned into the ridiculous side of it, which is good.
Yeah. So to Worf protesting that he's actually the head of security, that he's like, fine. So who's getting the chairs? Picard diplomatically tells them that they're only allowed 1 delegate per faction, so the other 2 can leave. And the remaining Ferengi can have his chair. In leaving the observation lounge, Picard looks up at the sky and sighs. Interestingly, when Picard leaves the observation lounge there and does that kind of like, oh, God, Ferengi. That's the first time we have a camera out in that corridor, and we actually see the corridor between the observation lounge and the bridge.
True.
The remaining Ferengi opens up by saying, I will match anyone's offer and throw in this stack of gold. So it's his opening gambit, to which everyone else is like, oh, God. Why did we invite these people?
and I believe Maz should have a goof on this one.
Around what? The gold?
Yeah.
Well, I not really, no. Go on then, if you've got a goof.
Well, I don't know if it's a goof, but I remember reading somewhere about the fact that they call it gold when it should have been like obviously gold pressed platinum.
Yeah, well, this was kind of before they really started talking about gold pressed platinum. Sort of some people say that this is, when they are thinking that humans still find gold valuable. But, the little bars, they do look like the same as the gold pressed platinum. But, there is some confusion as to, whether it's because it wasn't invented yet or whether they're just trying to con people into accepting something less valuable.
Yeah, they know that Federation and people like that find gold valuable, but they don't. So, yeah. Right, in Troy's office, she's searching information on Raoul, and she discovers he was born on Earth in 2325 in Brussels, in the European Alliance. So it's not only the French that have lost their accents in the 24th century, but the Belgians have lost their accents as well, by the sounds of it. Her door chimes, and it's Raoul. They exchange some flirtatious conversation where he says that he was hoping she was thinking about him and that he doesn't take part in the early rounds of negotiation as they are inconsequential. and that there are far more interesting things to negotiate on the ship, like dinner tonight with the lovely Troy. He tells her he sent his travelling companion home because you know why. He asks her who she is when she leaves the office and begins to stroke her hair. And there you go. That doesn't look hashtag Me Too at all, does it?
Yeah, she does look generally quite sort of intimidated by him at the first.
Yeah, he strokes her hair and removes her hair clip. And all I could think of was, leave our Troy alone, you horrible, horrible man.
Yeah, he's got some real big creep factor going on.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's I would think she would have a bit better taste in men, but
The thing is, I don't think they were going for like really
no, they weren't.
really
No.
creepy.
They weren't.
I think they were going for like suave and stuff, but it doesn't translate to modern audience at all.
No, it's the kind of attitude which has aged a bit more than other things.
You know this guy, right? Because you were talking to somebody ago about his real name's McCoy, yeah. It's really weird because he just gives off this massive Baldwin vibe.
Yeah,
He
because of his
does,
light blue eyes and dark hair, he could be a
Yeah.
Baldwin. You're right.
yeah, he does. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
But
and they
that is
play.
one long middle finger.
Wow.
That's like a twig.
It's funny.
Oh, I was going to say inappropriate things. No wonder she seemed a lot
I'm
happier later
halfway
in the
there.
episode.
I'm happy that I've loaded it up for you. All you
Yeah.
got to do is fire the gun.
Sorry.
All the better to massage your feet with.
Yeah.
Well, we see that later
or,
on.
Or put through your hair.
Yeah.
She's got some split ends.
Anyway, as if hearing the audience from around the world, he then leaves the room, agreeing to meet at dinner for 8 p.m. And that is the end of Act 1.
Stupin
what?
says he thinks he's a Troy boy.
The Troy boy, yeah.
His finger could leave the room and he could still stay inside the room. That's how long that finger is.
Yeah.
Anyway. Question?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a
Give us
question.
question.
Yeah, alrighty then. Let's line it up and bang it out. So this is Lieutenant Commander. So opportunity to start really getting those promotions in, and anybody else that didn't get the ensign can make a quick jump up to Lieutenant Commander, and it's worth 50 TNG points. What's the name of the Ferangi doctor? Is it A, Dr. Goss, B, Dr. Craig, C, Dr. Fenica, D, Dr. Arendor, or E, none of the above? What's the name of the Ferangi doctor? Is it Dr. Goss, Dr. Kramer, Dr. Fenica, Dr. Arendor, or none of the above?
I did make a note of that.
Not that it's all that interesting, but because the Chrysalians are being represented by this human guy, nobody actually really knows what they look like.
Oh,
Because we never really get to meet them, do we?
no.
But one of the other guys, what do they call him? The Caledonian. He's the one with the big sort of
Yeah, tall guy.
browny head thing. That's though they were inspired by a song in which the line is Caledonia, Caledonia, what makes your big head so hard?
Really?
Yep, it's like a
That's the
19
song?
Well, yeah, it was it was it's from like the 1940s, like some really old song played by Louis Jordan and the Timpani Five.
What were they
Yeah.
singing about?
It's about a woman. I think it's trying to imply like she's hard-headed and
Oh,
probably full of herself or something. I don't know, but it's kind of like a jazzy sort of song. But yeah, Caldonia, Caldonia, what makes your big head so hard?
right.
I find that really funny.
G-Star's writing the names out because I think Smiler Rainbow's interpretation wasn't.
Dr. Goss, Dr. Kramer, Dr. Finneker, Dr. Erindor. Oh. Dr. Goss, Dr. Cray, Dr. Finneker, Dr. Oh, I think she did or none of them.
Did a pretty good.
Wasn't too bad.
No, it's pretty good.
So, is that Stu Plum's answer to this question?
And that was the maybe.
I think that is. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it must be.
Okay, so just waiting for Karen. What are your guys' answers?
Karen's already answered. Karen, Mickey, and Stu Plum have answered.
Yeah.
I'd go E, none of the above, like my dad, like Stu Plum.
Okay.
I go. What was it? D. Dr. Quinn, Dr. Zeus, Dr. Spock.
Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. Dr. Doolittle.
Okay, if you don't stop silliness, I'm going to take away everybody's points.
Go on then, give us an answer.
Go on then.
So
I went
everybody that said E, none of the above, unfortunately, are not getting promoted. And anybody that said D, Dr. Erindor, unfortunately, are getting promoted to Lieutenant Commander.
Well done, guys. You've done very well on that one. I didn't even realise the guy had a name.
Mickey gave it D. Yeah.
What are you saying Arador for, Stu Plum? You'd already said E.
Yes, it was Dr. Arundel.
Yeah. You're too late now.
Don't change your mind. Anywho.
Also, that guy with the big hard head, the actor that played that character, played the Predator in the original Predator film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the Predator.
What,
he was also.
I don't know that.
Eh? No, the guy that played the big, tall, brown guy.
The Caledonian.
The Caledonian? Yes, the Caledonian.
I was looking it up earlier on. I put Calzonian.
Is he a big pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played the Predator, and he also played Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh.
You know, the Bigfoot. Bigfoot related. Yeah, unfortunately, he died in 1991, not long after filming this episode of AIDS, unfortunately.
Aww.
Yeah, he received it via a blood transfusion for an illness. There was a mistake made, and yeah, he got AIDS and died of pneumonia.
Very sad.
Very sad. Age of 31.
Gosh. Just before you go into Act 3, just going to do a bit of a roundup, and just to say that Lieutenant Commander Mickey and Lieutenant Commander Mazza Bob have jumped into the lead on 50 points, and we have Ensign Karen and Ensign Stu Plum on 25 points, and Monty yet to get on the ranking.
Sad times.
Plenty of time yet, Monty. Plenty of time.
Unfortunately for you, G, we're only just starting Act 2. We haven't got to Act 3 yet, but
all right.
We're still on like the first picture.
It's just that I can't count.
Yeah. Right. Let's move a picture on, shall we? Let's get rid of that creepy guy. There we go. In Picard's ready room, Picard, Riker, Data, and Mendoza. There's Mendoza and his very courageous mustache. Interestingly, well, if you find these kind of things interesting, the the material on this outfit that Mendoza's wearing is used in lots of different things, like Romulan uniforms. The guards in Encounter at Farpoint had that material on their uniforms. It's one of these materials that is reused like over and over and over again in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Anyway, there you go.
I did come across some trivia about him, but I can't remember what it was. Something to do with they don't really go on to actually explain his death or revisit it. Anyway, we'll come to that later.
Anyway, they are reviewing the readings from the unmanned probe that was sent through a wormhole. Data outlines that the other side exists near the Denkiri arm in the Gamma Quadrant. This is the first time that we've seen in Star Trek: The Next Generation the concept of the galaxy being split into 4 quadrants. So in this episode, we see they mention the Gamma Quadrant here, and that's the end of the wormhole. And later on, they mention the Delta Quadrant. And those become big themes in Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
From this episode.
The quadrants and also the concept of a stable wormhole is obviously a good lead-in for DS9.
Yeah. Picard gives a low whistle, as the distance would take nearly 100 years at Warp 9 to cover. Riker jokes, imagine the Ferangi tolls if we lose. But Mendoza don't think the Ferangi have the resources the Barzans are after. Riker agrees and thinks that Ral is the only real threat. And Mendoza asks him why he thinks that, and he says it's because he's so comfortable. Mendoza is impressed and asks Riker if he plays poker. And Riker's like, is that a game? Like he doesn't know what poker is. Riker is worried that the wormhole might not be as stable as advertised, so would not want to risk going all in. Picard doesn't want the Federation to risk buying a proverbial lemon, so Data questions the term proverbial lemon, but Picard goes, later, Data. They decide to request to take a look themselves. Once Picard's satisfied it's safe to do so. Mr. G-Star.
Talking about lemons, I've just been lemon because when I did that score roundup, for the last question, I didn't look at the answers properly. And Karen had actually given the right answer. So Karen is Lieutenant Commander Karen. And also jumps into the lead on 75 points.
Wow.
Well done, Karen.
We have Lieutenant Commander Karen currently in the lead.
Well done, Karen. Yeah, he didn't spot that, did he? He didn't spot that in chat. So.
Well,
just
all
addressing
the Dr. Seuss's and Dr. Who's and Dr. Spock's were putting me off.
You got confused, didn't you? Yeah.
God.
Onward.
In the Ferangi's quarters, they are planning on conducting a poison handshake. One of the Ferangis laces Goss's hand with poison to conduct the poison handshake, giving the victim a severe but not fatal allergic reaction in order to remove them from the negotiations. I didn't realise, but it was Dr. Arendor was administering that, but there you go. So, yeah, you learn something new every day. There you go.
Dr. Arendor.
Dr. Arendor, yeah.
It doesn't really occur to me that Ferengis have doctors, but I guess they might.
No,
Right.
there you go. We see the purple nails, which was established, I think, in the first season that the Ferengi have purple nails. At 8 p.m., Slimy McSlimy Pants I've written. I was like, what have I written there? 8 p.m., Slimy McSlimy Pants picks Troy up at her quarters and comments that her tire is much better. She invites him in for a drink and asks him what he would like, and he steals a kiss before she can order. She turns away, and he's like, oh, there's the counselor again. And she's like, no, it's not. So she orders champagne. You just want to give him a...
Yeah.
Shove that bottle of champagne. And so she gets the champagne. He asks if he's moving too fast for her, but she's like, no, I'm moving too fast for me. She admits she hasn't stopped thinking about him all day. And he's like, oh, it must have been a lovely day then. So,
Yeah, not
get
as
over
much.
yourself. They kiss some more. And she's like, oh, we'll be late for dinner. And he replies, we'll be very late for dinner, carrying her off to the bedroom. Mendoza staggers down the corridor to sickbay. He's obviously the victim of the Ferangi handshake. He collapses and Dr. Crusher rushes forward to help him. Poor Mr. Mendoza. In Picard's ready room, the Ferangi are arguing with the captain and Riker about their plans to explore the wormhole. Picard says they will share their data, but the Ferangi aren't convinced. Riker angrily tells them to send their own probe, and Goss says that's exactly what we're going to do. They storm out, and Picard says to Riker, tell Data and LaForge to stay out of their way. And the Doc then summons Picard to sickbay. In sickbay, Dr. Crusher tells Picard he's suffering with some sort of histaminic reaction. I guess that's like histamines when you
it's an allergic reaction.
Allergic reaction. And will be out of action for a few days. Picard thinks it's suspicious, and orders Riker to take over the negotiation. Riker protests as he's only a poker player. But Picard's like, well, there's just more at stake here. And isn't that when poker becomes more interesting, when the stakes are higher? Picard then enters the turbo lift, leaving Riker to ponder that thought. And that is the end of Act Duh. There's Slimy McSlimey Pants carrying our Troy off to the bedroom.
He is kind of literally slimy. Like, why did they make him so shiny in this? Looks like he's constantly sweating.
It's so weird to see a man with that in his sideburns.
It's kind of strange, isn't it? Especially in Star Trek, where they all have little pointy ones. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that with Star Trek characters. They all have little pointy sideburns. It's kind of like a Star Trek thing. At least it always used to be. It's not anymore, but it used to be a thing. I'm moving on to my second wine of the day. And this one's Hiluti Fuego Merlot from 2019. Again from Chile.
Nice.
Central Valley.
I had a little bit of the first one, and then I had a little bit of the second one. The second one's kind of deeper and smokier. The second one is a Black Duck de Reef, New South Wales. And it's kind of smokier and meatier. The other one was a lot fruitier and lighter.
Have we got any questions for that act, G? Or
yeah, how many
should
do you want?
Straight on? Should I move on to Act 3?
It's up to you.
Did you say you wanted 3 questions?
No, just the one.
Oh, just the one. Okay, not a problem then. Are you ready? Commander question coming at you. This one
Born
is
ready.
Worth 75 TNG points. How many fingers does a Caledonian have? Is it A, 8, B, 6, C, 4, D, 2, or E, none of the above? How many fingers does a Caledonian have? A, 8, B, 6, C, 4, D, 2, E, none of the above.
I'm fearing a trick question here, like they weren't fingers, they were tentacles. Or you don't see it, but Caledonians have fingers on their feet as well, instead of toes.
I don't know the answer. I can guess an answer. But
I've got a
I'll
guess.
make a guess.
I have a guess.
I have actually no idea.
I'm not sure.
I forgot to say earlier, but there was like a shot of inside Councillor Troy's office, like a councillor office. I think it's only the second time that's been featured. It was originally in Icarus Factor.
All right, yeah. And I don't think it's changed much, is it? I think it was pretty much the same. They left it as it was. I think it was exactly the same as it was in Icarus Factor. I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, it says it was modified extensively after the Icarus Factor, and looks very close to the final appearance first seen in the Loss.
Oh.
So it says. I'm not.
Oh, it has
sure.
changed them. Okay.
Apparently so. And also, Devanani is playing a character 10 years older than he actually is, because of that whole thing where they, in the future, you look younger when they're older.
Right.
They do that with a lot of characters. But yeah, he's supposed to be playing a 41-year-old character, and he's actually only 31.
Right. Yes.
Smiley Rainbow says chat's not working for her.
Oh, sad times.
No,
How are you hearing that then?
She WhatsApped.
Hopefully chat's working for you guys.
Earlier, Mickey said, "Oh, she's back doing it now." Earlier, Mickey said, "Can he hear little whines in the background? Have you got a little doggy in the room with you?"
No.
I think that was nose sound.
You what?
It's what? It's what sound?
You know when your nose is whistling. Somebody's nose was
Oh.
whistling.
Oh, hopefully it wasn't me. It might have been.
Couldn't it have
More
been
than
your
likely.
little dogs? Are they not in there with you either, G-Star?
No.
No.
No little dogs then?
He might have come by, though. To be fair, he walks in and out of here, and I don't realise he's doing it half the time. So maybe
It
he
definitely
may have.
wasn't a dog. Definitely wasn't a dog.
I didn't hear anything.
No, did I?
It's just probably me. Anyway, right. So yes. Oh, Smiler is there. There you go. I would also was C6.
No, C was 4.
4. Oh, they got just 2, like E.T.
I don't know. I mean, they might have thumbs. I couldn't really see. You're going to go 6, are you?
I'm going to go 6.
Was that B?
So
I don't know.
You go with Stu Plum again.
2 Bs and 3 Cs.
Uh-oh, Stu Plum. I feel we're wrong. I feel we've got it wrong again, Stu Plum.
Well, the results of this question are a real game changer. So we now have our first commander, Stu Plum.
Oh, we got it right.
Who now is on 100 TNG points. Then we've got Commander Monty,
Hey!
who's off and running with 75
Woohoo!
points. And then Lieutenant Commander Karen. What was Karen's answer? Yep. And then we've got Lieutenant Commander Mickey and Lieutenant Commander Maz on 50.
Last place.
Sad times for them. Right.
Yeah, so technically, I went on to Memory Alpha because they have kind of like what would look like these 2 fingers, but then there's like what looks like a thumb, but apparently they classify it as 3 fingers. And so because they've got 2 hands or 2 appendages, that makes 6.
Right.
Yeah. Well, all thumbs are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs, right? People always just glaze over for a few seconds when you say that.
That's right. That's right. You are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. Yeah, thumbs are fingers, but fingers aren't thumbs. Yes. Yes. Right, Act 3. We're just tearing through it this evening, I tell you. Data and Geordie are in the shuttle pod. We see the little tiny shuttle pods again. And the Ferangi arrive in theirs. What was that? What are you laughing at?
It's just Mickey. He put sweet mother of Jeebus with like a monkey like this. Was this what, the fingers and thumbs? A digital geek. I don't know.
Digital
It's
geek, yeah.
just a funny phrase, and like the little monkey made me chuckle.
Yeah. Oh dear, we're on full geek mode this evening, I tell you. Yes, the Ferengi are happy with the Federation taking the lead, so they do so. As you can see in that picture there, they set off first. Geordi ponders that if this doesn't work, he's spending the rest of his life in a shuttle pod on the other side of the galaxy is not very appealing. But Data reminds him that on the bright side, you'll have Data himself to talk to, which Geordi kind of looks at him as though that's not a bright side. So they enter the wormhole and they lose contact with the Enterprise. In the observation lounge, Raoul attempts to undermine Riker's position by telling him if he doesn't understand anything, he hopes he's not too embarrassed to ask for his help. But Riker says he understands the rules. Raoul makes a play on Riker's military record, on how many battles he's won and things like that, and puts his case forward that the Chrysalians have the resources and tech to make the Barzans prosperous, and have also had peace with all species for 10 generations, which is something the Federation cannot claim. Later in Troy's quarters, Raoul is massaging Troy's feet. I wonder if we have a picture of that. Oh,
We've got a picture of them there.
yeah, that's them in the shuttle pod, kind of contemplating their future lives together in the Gamma
It's a
Quadrant.
seriously tiny cockpit.
Yeah.
It's just too small, these shuttle pods. They get rid of them eventually. They're just ridiculous looking things. Oh no, we haven't got that far yet. Oh, spoilers. Oh yeah, so we have a whether it's actually Troy's feet or it's a foot stunt double, we'll just never know. But yeah, Raoul's massaging Troy's feet, and they talk about how she cannot read him. He asks her about her relationship with her. He asks her about her relationship with Riker, and she says they are just good friends, but once were more than that. She then presses him on his background, but he's a bit cagey about it. She says she wants to know why she is so drawn to him, and he eventually admits that he too is part Betazoid. His mum was half Betazoid, making him 1/4 Betazoid. He was the only one of 5 children to have empathic abilities and found that difficult, so eventually moved away. In the shuttle pod, the 2 shuttlecraft arrive at the other end of the wormhole. Geordi checks in with the Ferengi, but they're like, mind your own business. Data reports that they are 200 light years away from where they're supposed to be. And in fact, they're not even in the same quadrant. They're in the Delta Quadrant, some 70,000 light years away from Barzan 2. Data speculates that this side of the wormhole is unstable, and LaForge detects heightened subatomic activity with his visor. He thinks there's something strange happening to the wormhole. Dun 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 dun. And that was the end of Act 3.
This is the first time a Ferengi shuttle pod is seen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool looking thing. We saw the back of it in that last shot. Here it is. We see them a number of times in Star Trek in various series. And in fact, we will see these 2 Ferengi again later in Voyager.
Yes.
Yes.
Episode False Prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Spoiler alert, they get stuck in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was going to bring that point in when it happened, but yeah.
Well, I
They
think
do
by
get stuck there.
everybody taking notes, I think they've watched the episode already.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's true. But yeah,
Why don't I just read all my trivia then, regardless of what order we're talking about?
but
Help yourself.
yeah, it's a good callback though in Star Trek Voyager, isn't it, to this episode? As it's one of the only times the Delta Quadrant was mentioned. And they just happened to come across them.
Yeah.
It's quite a good episode as well. It's quite funny. Yeah.
Oh, question.
Oh, have we got a question for Act 3?
Yeah. Well, it's the themed question. So, as you know, with the themed question, it can come away from the episode itself. Now, that last question, the commander question that I asked, did you think that was difficult?
No, I got it right, so I thought it was quite easy.
Okay, because the next two questions are like a lot harder. In fact, this next question is probably the hardest question that I've asked ever.
Right. Okay.
No
I'm all
multiple
ears.
choice. Make it even worse. No multiple choice. Just put what you feel is appropriate in the chat.
Okay.
But this
Even
is
if it's screw you, G. Is that
well,
appropriate?
of course, no, because you'd get
Everybody can say that in
get
chat.
booted off the quiz then for doing that. Anyway, so as I said, this is the special themed question. So it's called the Wormhole Question, and it's worth 150 points. So a lot more than it's usually worth, because it's only usually worth 75. So
Right.
it's double the points. There are wormholes, black holes, and white holes. What's the main difference between a black hole and a white hole?
Right.
There are wormholes, black holes, and white holes. What's the main difference between a black hole and a white hole?
I don't see colour. They're all the same to me.
See,
Black and white's not colour, though, is it?
I know.
Black is the absence of colour, and white
know.
is
the reason why I
every
did give
colour.
multiple choice because the first one would be a hole.
White hole.
Yeah, what's the main difference between a black hole and a white hole?
Well, black holes are black,
Karen's got a good answer in there. Nothing.
and white holes are white.
Karen thinks it's a trick question, so she's put nothing.
I think it's because black holes exist and white holes don't.
Stu Plum goes for the obvious.
Their colour.
Yeah. Never heard of
Yeah.
a white hole.
No.
I didn't until today.
Well, black holes are black because they suck in everything, including light. And white holes must be white because they let all the light out. So one sucks things in and the other one projects things out.
Like the Big Bang.
Okay. I'm gonna give you the points, Monty. So that's
Me?
close enough
Oh,
kind of description. But I'm also going to give a few points to Mickey as well, because I think Mickey was kind of on the same drift when he was saying it's just dependent on what they swallow. And the way that I thought of sort of giving a really short answer to the question is one sucks and one blocks. So basically,
I thought you were going to say blows.
A black hole obviously will suck things in, and it's meant to be believed that at the end of a black hole, that's where things can't get through the other side of the black hole. Whereas with a white hole, it's slightly different. It doesn't allow anything in. So it kind of like blocks anything from going in. It doesn't push anything out. And that's, well, I don't know about that definitely, but what I was reading about is that it won't allow anything in. So it's kind of like more like a force field almost sort of thing.
I will look into that. You colour me intrigued, G. You colour me intrigued.
Yeah, well, I was reading up about wormholes this afternoon just to try and find a wormhole question, and it was a question about what was the difference between black holes and white holes, and yeah,
very good.
And
I get points, so that's even better.
Yeah, so I was gonna give. So there was 150 points up there. I'm gonna give 25 points to Mickey. No, I'm gonna give Mickey 50 points.
No, there's no brown holes, Stu Plum. No.
And then I'm gonna give Monty 100 points.
Woo.
So I shared out the points between the two of you. So in the lead at the moment, we have Monty on 175. In joint second place, we have Commander... no, not Commander. Lieutenant
I could
Commander
win one
Mickey.
tonight, boys. I could win one.
Commander Stu Plum, both on
I'm
100.
getting excited.
And Commander Karen 75. Sorry, I'll get there in a minute.
It's all right. It's like half the episode goes by with you trying to spit the titles out.
It keeps him happy. As long as he's happy. Yeah. Right, moving on to Act 4. Here we go. And this wonderful next picture. There we go.
My God.
That's some outfits to be proud of there.
Is it?
Dr. Crusher and Troy are warming up for a gymnastics session. That's what they're doing, apparently. And they're discussing Troy's new relationship. She feels she's out of control. And Dr. Fuck confides that she met a guy once she fell in love with for a day, or in a day, but it only lasted a week. And that was before she met Jack, Wes's dad, who it turns out took her a month before she figured that she was in love with him. Troy thinks maybe she should slow down and get control of herself. But then they look at each other and go, nah. It's the way these outfits are kind of like leotards, apart from the bits are cut out around their boobs.
Yeah.
It's just like the weirdest thing.
Well, I mean, those sorts of things were worn in the 80s for like working out. People had like leggings and the high cut leotards, and it's very 80s style.
Karen's saying you missed her answer again, G. She's upset.
Yeah, but it was the first. It was the same as the captain question. It was the first. You said the answer on chat, and not on chat, on stream before the answer came through on chat.
Technically, I didn't put my answer in chat, did I? So I should be disqualified. But let's ignore that little piece of...
Well, her answer was nothing, G, I thought.
was it?
She answered first
I
out
don't
of
know.
anybody.
It's very confusing. Oh, there is no difference. That was... yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so what do we think? Are those outfits winners, or are they consigned to the dustbin of history of outfits?
They're definitely terrible. They're another way in which this episode really dates itself.
Yeah, they just look awful. They look awful, don't they? I think they're supposed to look futuristic, but
definitely do not.
Yeah. In 10 forward, Goss is making unsuccessful passes at women at the bar, and Raoul's talking to Leor. He's talking him out of taking part. He convinces him that the administrative burden would be out of his faction's league. They go to the next session, and Leor withdraws his people's stake. Riker, not missing a beat, asks to negotiate with the Caledonians for their resources to be added to the Federation's offer, but Leor reveals that he's already negotiated a deal with Raoul. Riker is suspicious, but Raoul says it was just good timing, and adds the Caledonian resources to the Chrysalians' bid. Back in the Delta Quadrant, Data and Forge try to convince the Ferangi they need to go back through the wormhole because things aren't looking good, but the Ferangi aren't listening. They decide to go without them, so they enter the wormhole, leaving the Ferangi behind. The Ferangi are pleased to see the wormhole appear as expected, but then are less pleased to see it pack its bags and yeet the hell out of there. Their shocked faces will live on in our memory. In fact, I think we've got their shocked faces next. There we are. It's
Pretty
like
sure.
they're like, oh!
You know, you said Goss was chatting someone up at the bar, and did you see what he did when he was there?
No.
He was going, and
Oh,
apparently, according to like a Star Trek companion, he was trying to indicate the size of his organ.
I didn't see that. Oh dear.
He was not
That
talking about
goss.
fishing.
No. I love the faces, the shocked faces on these Ferengis though. That was great.
It is great.
Yes. That
And
evening.
apparently the exercise room is a redress of the main part of engineering, but with the pool table thing removed and then mirrors put over the so you can't see other sections or the panels.
That's right.
And things.
So they've got a mirror here and a mirror at the front as well, so it creates like one of those like endless.
That actually just looks like they're in a corridor.
Yeah, well, engineering also passes as a corridor, a wide corridor sometimes as well. Yeah. Oh no, let's have the Ferengi shocked faces. There we go. That evening, Troy and Ral are having a candlelit dinner, and Troy says everyone is talking about Ral's coup. Ral says Riker is the most dangerous man in the room, and Troy accuses him of using his edge to gain an advantage. He says she's making it sound unethical, and she's like, isn't it unethical? He asks her, does she declare her advantage every time they engage with someone? Like, does she tell a Romulan on the view screen that she can tell he's bluffing, or does she just tell her captain? But she thinks that's different because she's using it for protection. He says, well, you're using it for life and death situations where I'm just using it to buy and sell property, where no one gets hurt. Who is the more unethical? And with that, he excuses himself and walks out. And that was Act 4.
End of that relationship.
Didn't last long, did it? I guess we got one more question left. Are we at the end, G?
Yeah, when you get to the end, captain question.
Yeah, captain question at the end. So we'll continue on with Act 5. Later that evening, Ralph finds Riker in 10 forward. And we got a picture of that. There they are. Ralph tells him that the last mile of the marathon is always the toughest. He says he's willing to reach a firm agreement with Bhavani before they get the readings back from the shuttles. But Riker's face says he was not willing to do that. Raul goes on to further needle Riker by saying he just doesn't go far enough. Take Troy, for example. She could have been his, but now he will take her away too. And Riker smiles that that's the first bad play he's made. If he can make Troy happy, then there's nothing that would make him happier. Riker continues that Raul isn't a bad sort, really, but at his heart he's a mercenary with nothing to value or to look forward to, except the next deal. Maybe Troy will bring some meaning to his life. If Raul has the wit to realize it, but he doubts he does. Riker then drinks to the last mile and leaves 10 forward, leaving Raul looking pretty disappointed.
It's really good how Riker turns the tables on him.
He does.
You just have that like, oh, go Will, sort of.
Yeah.
Tell him. You tell that slimy,
smarmy ass
word.
git. Yeah, that's good. I like that scene. On the bridge, Worf reports that the Ferengi have moved to take position in front of the wormhole. Goss accuses the Federation of secretly hammering out a deal with Bhavani and shoots a missile at the wormhole. Worf destroys the missile with phasers. Meanwhile, back in the observation lounge, they're in the middle of the negotiations when red alert sounds and Riker gets summoned to the bridge. With Riker gone, Raul uses the moment to tell Bhavani that the conflict is between the Ferengi and the Federation, and it seems unconscionable that the wormhole is being used in that fashion. Unconscionable. That's my word of the day. I forgot to get a
that'd be one of those words.
Klingon word of the day. Let's look up wormhole, shall we? I bet there's got to be a Klingon word for wormhole. What do you reckon? Do we reckon wormhole?
Should be.
Well, it's worm.
Gah.
Worm is gach. It is gach. So have we got
It's
Howl.
worms.
a word for hole? Because it could be just
That would get confusing at the dinner table. What do you want? A wormhole? Well,
no, they haven't got hole.
Oh.
Might have to look it up on an online dictionary.
yeah.
Gach hole.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yes.
Yes.
Back on the bridge, Picard tries to point out that the missile could damage the shuttles who'll be returning, but Goss is like, my crew are willing to die. Are yours? Troy steps in though and says he's lying. He means nothing is what he's saying. This confuses Picard and Riker. Then Bhavani and Raoul enter the bridge, and Raoul negotiates with Goss and says that he has come to an agreement with the Barzans on behalf of the Chrysalians and is willing to offer the Ferangi free access to the wormhole in perpetuity in exchange for Ferangi convoy privileges. Goss accepts the offer. Bhavani apologizes to Riker for negotiating behind his back, but says she realizes that the Chrysalians' long tradition of peace makes them much more desirable than the Federation. Troy, though, has had enough of all this and reveals Raoul's empathic powers and how he has used them to manipulate the situation. She guesses that in the recent upset was all faked, as though they were performing a scene, as there was no tension in their actions. Goss objects, but Picard switches the main viewer off. Troy continues that because of her relationship, there was conflict of interest, but hopefully that has now been resolved. Wes then announces the return of the shuttle from the wormhole. Geordi hails them and informs them the Ferangi were trapped in the Delta Quadrant. Data elaborates that whilst this end is stable, the other end is not, and eventually both sides will become unstable. Geordi puts the boot in it by declaring that, Captain, this is a dry well. Worf reports that Damon Goss is wanting to know where his men are, and Picard advises them to set course for the Delta Quadrant and will reach them in 80 years or so. Riker congratulates Raoul on his victory, but Raoul says he'll stand by his commitments. Later on, Raoul makes the final visit to Troy and says he is being recalled to Chrysalia to face the music. He says he's done well for them over the years, so everything should be fine. Though he might get tortured to death, we'll never know.
And who are those Chrysalians anyway?
Who are they? And
Who cares?
we'll never know. He admits that Bhavani was ready to go with the Federation, so he got desperate. He was grateful, though, as her actions made him look at who he was, and he wants to change. He also asks her to run away with him, to be his conscience, and to help him be a better person. But she declines, as she already has a job as a counsellor. So he buggers off. And that's the end of the episode. Done. Yeah. Yeah, he turned out a bit whiny in the end, didn't he? He was like, oh, I need your help. You got to come with me and make me a better person. She's like, I've already got a job, thanks.
Yeah. Go away, slimy.
Go away, Slimy McSlimeball. Last pictures. There's her confronting him on the bridge. And telling him...
Some people have pointed out that, when she was saying, Ferengi's lying, I'm almost certain. She's not supposed to be able to read Ferengi's minds.
Oh, yeah, they established that, didn't they, earlier on.
However, it could be, she was talking to Ral earlier and they were saying about, in order, to tell what somebody's thinking or feeling or, there are ways in which you can do it by listening to what they say and looking at the body language and that kind of thing. So I'm just wondering if against both the Ferengi and against him, she was using those other sort of powers of observation rather than just relying on her empathic power. It's like I've got more tools in my toolkit, mate.
Yeah. And there's the last picture, I think, of her saying goodbye to him in her quarters. As he goes and faces the music from the Chrysalians.
Yeah.
It's nice that he's stuck with the offer for the Barzans there, so they got their money or whatever it is they wanted to get out of him for managing the wormhole.
Yeah, and I mean, they could still have some kind of use for it. If you want to send like long distance exploration vessels out, it's still a useful way of doing that.
For the time being, but as Data said, it's gonna, but you never know. It might become unstable in 100 years' time. Astronomical time is not the same as like a living person's time, is it?
Nope.
The star Beta Z is going to go supernova sometime soon, but we're talking sometime in the next probably several 100,000 years.
And when they announced that the wormhole is different from what they thought, like when Data and Geordie came back with their big announcement, there was like not a single reaction on a single face. Nobody was like, "Oh my god," or "Oh, that's terrible," or it was just completely blank faces. Cue reaction.
Right, so
Captain question.
Yes, because I'm just reading in chat and Karen's bursting for the toilet. So let's get it out as quick as possible. So luckily, Karen, it's fingers fast. And so for my fellow hosts, if you wouldn't mind making sure that you put your answers in chat to make it as fair as possible for everybody. This captain question is not worth 100 points. It's worth 200 points. So it's double the points and could mean that anyone could win. So the question is this, no multiple choice, it's just the fastest answer right in chat. What shuttle does Geordie and Data travel through the wormhole in? What shuttle does Geordie and Data travel through the wormhole in?
Is that a number or a name? I have no Scooby. Not a Scooby-Doo. I probably have a couple more bits of trivia.
NCC 170.
Yeah, it did have that right across the front of it.
It had that across the front.
Yeah. That is.
I've guessed a name.
That's the Enterprise's registry, Mickey, in case you didn't realise. But Brenda, Smiler Rainbow guesses.
It's a good guess. Strong guess.
Apparently, from a continuity perspective, I mean, I must admit I didn't actually notice this, but when they're in the conference room, like the curtains with the dots in behind the windows, apparently they're completely erratic. Like literally from scene to scene, there's not a single one where they're moving in the same direction or at the same speed.
We have a
Did
winner.
not notice.
Oh, is it Mickey?
Yep. It was Shuttle 9. So that means that Mickey gets 200 points all to himself.
Mickey's off the block. Well done, Mickey.
Yay.
No, he's off the block anyway. He's finished on 300.
No, I mean, this is the first
episode
he's won
yes,
this season.
You're right.
I mean, he completely dominated last season, but yeah. First score on the board. Well done.
Mentions, then we had Commander Monty in second place on 175, Commander Stuplum on 100, and then Lieutenant Commander Karen might have been on more. It's questionable. We'll resolve that next week. And then we had Lieutenant Commander Maz on 50. So well done, everybody. I think everybody did really well and got some surprise answers there tonight. But, yep, like you said, first win this season for Mickey off the starting blocks with a massive 300 points. Well done, Captain Mickey.
Oh, done.
Shuttle Pod 9 was called Lee. L-E-Y. There you go.
I just thought it was odd. The reason why I chose it as a question is because, usually over comms when they're in a like shuttle, they say the shuttle's name, so they'll say Enterprise, this is Shuttle Curie, you know, etc. But in this situation, Geordie kept saying Enterprise, this is Shuttle 9, and I thought that was a bit strange because they usually don't talk in numbers, so it just stood out to me.
Well, I'm disappointed I still haven't got off the. I haven't got a point.
Ah, have you got the spreadsheet? Have you?
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
There's not much else in the trivia and such, like a few continuity things, like when they were having the meal and when people were in 10 forward, like the position of glasses and things like that. Barely worth mentioning. And like a sort of a separate piece of information about Devanani Rao, it mentioned that he's born in Brussels in the European Alliance, and it's just an indication that Earth still has sort of different political subsets. Another example of this being the African Confederation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, he didn't have much of an accent there for someone from Brussels.
Yeah.
There we go. So there we go, Mickey. You're off the starting blocks. You have your first win of the season. You fought hard, and congratulations to you, sir. We also have Smiler on 1, Maz on 1, Alpal on 1, Stuplum on 2, and the lovely Karen is still our season leader on 3.
Well done, Karen.
Yes. Well
Hard
done,
fight
Karen.
to the bitter end. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it was very well won. Pipped him at
well
the post.
So now it's time for you all to get your scores into chat. Did we have any consensus from the Facebook crew?
No, I didn't. I forgot to ask last week for the marks out of 10, like I have been. One of the guys today in chat said a 7 out of 10. But yeah, that's the only one that I've seen on Facebook. The only score out of 10. Are we ready?
You just missed us congratulating you, Karen, for still being the series leader on 3 points. So, congratulations to you.
Stu Plum gives it a 6. Mickey said he didn't like it. He gives it a 5.
Are we ready with our scores?
I've got my score ready loaded.
Ready. 1, 2, 3.
3, 2, 1. Sting. Oh, I'm still high. I'm still
Simon Cowell.
You're still 6, 5, and 2. Six, 5, and 2.
That episode is a right stinker.
That's scored the worst episode that we think so far this season, mainly down to somebody's 2, I think.
An awful episode, and everything that I was looking online is everybody was saying the same. Although saying that, I think the average score on most things that I saw was about 6 or 7. So I think maybe your scorings are more around the average, but it's just, literally the only redeeming thing about this episode is one, that scene with the Ferangi when they first beam in, and then the fact that it's obviously used later down the line in Voyager, which isn't even relevant to this actual episode, but yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of the bidding war. I thought like some of the concept was quite good. And I thought some of the dialogue was good. There were some nice character moments with, Picard and, a few other little bits like that, which I quite liked. I think at the time it was a good extra part. I mean, he certainly commanded the role, did Matt McCoy. The nature of the role hasn't translated well over time, but I think the script and the idea was good. I just think it sort of fell down a little bit in execution.
I think you're right there. I think you've hit on the head there, because I haven't watched this episode in years, because it's that type of episode where, if I saw it come up on when I'm doing all my rewatches or on my DVDs, I'd be like, no, I don't like that one, skip through it. So I'd never gone really back to it. And probably if I was thinking about when I first watched it to now, yeah, he's become, like, as time's gone on, like over several decades, he's become way slimier as a character than what it was more like that was kind of accepted back then. So you didn't really stand out slimy. So because I didn't like it in the first place, now it's like even worse. And it's just like one of those episodes you just wish they'd. I mean, funny enough, a bit of trivia is that this episode was written by somebody called something Shearer.
David Shearer.
And this was the last of the last time that they would write for
Richard. No. Hannah Louise Shearer. Sorry. Yeah.
This is the last time that they would write for The Next Generation. They didn't appear back again in the Star Trek franchise until Deep Space Nine, Q-less, but they never wrote anything again for Next Generation. But it's funny because at the beginning of the episode, we were talking about Picard and how he said that line on the bridge, or no, not in the bridge.
10 forward.
10 forward, and he was saying to Troy about, "I'll just throw anything on." You know, it's making me think that, you know, if you've got really class actors who really know their business, and you've got a really bad script and it's really wooden, you know, from my own experience, I know that what you'll do is you'll look at then ways in which you can, you know, put flowers and a bow on it and make it a little bit better or a little bit more funnier or moving or whatever. So I reckon some of them were improvising lines in there just to make it a little bit better.
The only thing I'll counter that by saying is I actually thought the script was pretty good. I quite like a lot of the dialogue when they're doing the negotiation. I think a lot of the dialogue is quite clever in this, the way they're diplomatically sniping each other but staying within the realms of diplomacy, and even you know, the poker references in there and things like that. And as I say, I think the Ferengis are well written and all their scenes are really good fun. I even like the Geordian data scene in the shuttle pod. That was quite good. So yeah, there's quite a lot of I think there's a lot of good writing and a lot of good concepts. Even the whole concept of it, you know, bidding for a wormhole and it not being a stable thing. It's got good ideas, and it's just something missing in the execution. It's just not quite punchy enough. I don't know. I think it's probably in the directing. You know, we've had some really good episodes recently, which I've enjoyed, which haven't been maybe the best. They haven't been the best stories or the best written, but the music, the lighting, the atmosphere, especially like with The Enemy last week, is why I really liked that episode, because I just thought cinematically wise, and that's what I like. I like the visuals, you know. I thought it was really well done episode.
And the one thing, that's the one thing that you can,
I think that's what it's missing.
You can respect about that particular episode is because with these
No,
programs, they very rarely, you know, they're working towards a budget, and you know, a lot of the directors and
Majram Stuplum
working on particular episodes, the budget is the same. And so they're working with the same thing, but some of them, you know, certainly on that episode, The Enemy, I think that they were really clever about certain things that they did with the lighting and the set in that episode. Made it look more than it was worth, basically. Whereas in the hands of somebody else who wasn't so good with directing or creative direction, probably wouldn't have achieved the same.
It was very bright, and, you know, he as a main character or a main extra looked very shiny, and I mean, those outfits, those keep fit outfits. There were just a few visually cringy things. It's like almost if you close your eyes and watch the episode, it's much better.
I think the main thing is just what you said, Monty, is that it had all these great ideas in it, and it actually had a really stellar story there, but it's overshadowed by this really cheesy, and even for its time, cheesy, wooden, like, relationship between Troy and him. And that, you know, as a viewer, just frustrates the hell out of you. That why am I watching about some petty relationship? And it was just to make a Troy-centric episode, I think. But you know, they usually get panned hard anyway. Troy-centric episodes.
Well, she doesn't really often get any stories. That's the thing.
She doesn't.
And the one time she gets a story, it's basically being, you know, manhandled and manipulated by an aggressive, smug man. It's like, oh, great. I finally got a story. Paints me in a really great light.
Yeah, it must have been super frustrating. I have looked up, and now I have it, so that, you know, I can't be said that we haven't got it today. I've got the Klingon word of the day, and that is wormhole.
Aha.
And that is nag. And that is N-A-G-H, nag. And it is wormhole in...
It's like a gach, but it's a nach.
It's like a gach, but a nag. Yeah,
Cool.
there we go. So, yeah.
And there we have it.
I can call G-Star a patach, and he won't know what we're talking about because he wasn't here for that one.
Patak.
Patach, yeah.
That's like a. Oh, I almost said it then. But it's like, well, it's like the crap on your shoe, isn't it?
Well, it actually means weirdo, oddly enough, but they say it as if it's like the most worst insult. You know, oh, that Romulan patak. But it actually apparently translates to weirdo, but it is an insult.
Yeah, it is. There you go.
Are you our little patak, G-Star?
Yeah.
A gach lives in the nach.
Next episode, when we come back in the new year, I'll be wearing a T-shirt which says it.
I am a patak.
I am a patak.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. And I suppose now you're going to ask me what's next week's episode.
Well, no, because we're not here for 3 weeks, are we?
Oh, no.
So
you're
you
right.
could tell us what episode we're next reviewing on the whenever it is.
Next
5th or
in
something,
a year's time.
5th of
In a year's
January
in a
or
year's
something?
time.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a break for a year. We won't be coming back till next year.
Yeah, back next year. I'm going to miss this next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next episode is The Vengeance Factor. The Enterprise pursues a race of gatherers who continue to raid Federation outposts, unaware of the dangers lurking among them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Not
Interesting.
ringing
The
any
Vengeance
bells.
Factor. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, know what it is as
That's
soon as I
up
see a
next.
picture.
That's up next in the first week of January. Yeah.
Wicked. Hope everybody has a lovely Christmas in the meantime and things.
Yeah, have a fantastic festive season, guys. Enjoy all the celebration and the
Can we have an
glimmer.
online TNG Christmas party?
Yeah, she says she'll miss us next week.
Oh.
Can we have an online TNG Christmas party?
We might be able to do something, Karen. I don't know about TNG party, but we might just hang out. Just have a Christmas party anyway.
An online Christmas party. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
we could do that. If you're not bored of us this week, Karen, we've got my first online plays of the new season or chapter of Fortnite tomorrow. Chapter 3 of Fortnite. We're giving our first reaction to that tomorrow. And then on Friday, we've got the Monty Zone.
Yeah, it got lost in time.
Yeah, we're going back in time
We're
on
going back
Friday
in
to
time
last
'cause
Friday.
technically we're doing the live stream last Friday, but you guys in your time frame will be able to see it this Friday at 8 p.m. If that makes sense. So join us at Friday at 8 p.m. and find out more about time travel.
Yeah. We're going to be going through wormholes and time dilations.
And black holes and
black holes and bouncing off of white holes and getting in our Klingon birds of prey and slingshotting ourselves around the sun to end up in 1986 to look for humpback whales.
You can do that. I'm getting in my DeLorean. That's just
Going at 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm going back to 1884, baby.
Yeah.
1884. I mean 1984. Well, no,
Or
future
you could
rotation.
travel into the distant future to 2015.
Yeah.
Where's the flying cars? God damn it! That's what we want to know.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Anyway. Right. So, yes, thank you to Karen and Mickey and Stupler for joining us and answering our questions. Smiler Rainbow for sticking them into chat. For G for coming up with the questions. For Mazza giving us all our trivia and bloopers. There weren't many bloopers in this episode, were there?
No, it's just some minor continuity bits and bobs and like the star curtains and those sorts of things.
Yeah. And to me for boring everybody to death for 1.5 hours
With your glorious antlers.
with my antlers. There we go. Yeah. We'll see you in January.
Merry
Cheers.
Christmas, guys. Bye.
Bye. Where's the end button? Can't find the end button. That's not it. There it is. I found it. Bye.